guys, welcome to another episode of Life Unedited. I'm your hostess with the mostest, your girl Kids, and today we're talking about something very special to me. It's basically just a recap of the last few years of my life, and I'll get into detail or give you guys a little context in a second. But welcome if you're new here. I'm Khadija or Kids. This is just my podcast, my little safe yap space where I come and talk about my life experiences, me navigating adulthood, and then everything in between. If you guys are not new here, thank you so much for continually supporting your girl. You know, tell a friend to tell a friend, and I hope we can all get acquainted and you know, you guys will stay for the journey. Today is our first visual episode and I'm very excited for that, even though it's just me sitting in the middle of my bed because, you know, Life Unedited, we don't have no script, we're just going off. Well, I mean, for this episode I have some stuff that I jotted down just so I can stay on track, but like I said, it's just me talking about my experiences and then navigating adulthood. Obviously I've never been here before, this is my first time, and you know, just everything in between. Some days it's gonna be a little fun and joke, some days it's gonna be educational and we have to be serious, but yeah, everything in between. And like I said, thank you guys so much for sharing your time of day with me. So a lot has happened since I last uploaded. It was my birthday a week ago, by the time you guys see this, or last weekend, and your girl got engaged. I'm gonna be a missus. And maybe one day on this very here podcast you guys will get to meet my fiance. Maybe by that time he'll be my husband, I don't know, we'll see. But you guys will probably get to meet him, or you guys will get to see him on my channel. I don't know, he's already on my TikTok, so we'll just see how it works out. By the way, if you guys are listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, go ahead and rate us, give us 5 stars. But if you are interested in watching the visual episode, you can go on over to my YouTube channel at Life with Kids. It's already been established, and I figured when I do my visual episodes for this podcast, I'll just upload them there. I'll make a playlist so they're easy to find. For those of you who are acquainted with me already doing YouTube, then you know where it is. And yeah, I figured it would be better to just upload them on a channel I already had, as opposed to making a whole new channel and asking people to subscribe and all of that. I already have a channel that has a couple subscribers and I already have videos posted over there, and you know, it would just be more convenient and work out best for me. I don't really think I could add another thing to my plate right now, another channel to manage, no. So it made sense. Anyways, so yeah, I've already done a video like this. The first time I went away on work and travel, I did make a video talking about my experience. I didn't have the podcast at the time, so it's just on my YouTube channel. You guys can go and look for it if you're interested in hearing what that experience was like. This episode is about my life in the US and my life in Jamaica. And though I don't live in the US permanently, I did stay there for 3 consecutive years. So we're gonna get into it. Like I said, I have some notes because I can ramble and when I ramble today, we're just getting into the meat of the matter. This also is not a comparison of which place was better. It's kind of just how each place impacted my life. Obviously I'm Jamaican, or for those of you who don't know or you're new here, I'm Jamaican. I was born and raised in Jamaica most of my life. In 2022 I got the opportunity to go away and work, and so I went April to November of 2022, went on work and travel, came back. Thought I was supposed to be graduating that year. My university that I attended said not so. If you guys are interested in hearing me talk about that experience and what it was like, there's a video also on my YouTube channel, so you can go search for it if you're interested. If not, I had quite the time there. I was supposed to do a 4-year degree, turned into 6 years, because in 2022 when I was supposed to initially graduate, UTech told me that they couldn't find proof that I did a class. Fortunately for me, I was very familiar with the lecturer and she rallied for me to get my grade, And then when I thought I was going to be graduating 2023, UTech also said not so, because there was a class that I had not done, which was never on the list of classes that I should have done. So when I thought I was graduating November, I had to wait till January when that class was offered to get it out of the way. And so in 2023, when I returned to the States in April, I would have initially planned to come back home that November. It didn't work out, and so I got an extension of my work and travel visa. For those of you who are not familiar, I was on the H2B work visa. You are eligible to extend that visa for up to 3 years, and then after 3 years you have to return to your home country for 90 days before you can try again to go for another 3 years if you want to, or another year or two or whatever. So yeah, so that's what I did. I figured it would have been better to stay, make some money, get some more experience, do a bit of traveling, as opposed to coming home, waiting to get the class done in January, not making any money, stressing out myself and my parents and everybody. So that's how that worked out, and that's the context in which I ended up staying in the US for 3 years. So this video is just kind of my experience, because I had to live there for 3 years. And I went to a couple different states. I've been to Maine and I've been to California for work. I have traveled to other states like New York. I've been to Massachusetts, I've been to Florida, and I have a whole lot more on my bucket list. Well, not bucket list, but list of places to go. So if you guys see me reading from this, it's just to keep on track. Alright, so like I did say, I was in America for work, and it was my first time traveling to the States as an adult. I used to travel a lot as a kid, but I was a baby, like still I wear diapers, barely could talk and walk. You know, I can only go off pictures that I've seen, or maybe things that my family members and or my parents have told me. And this was my first time in 2022 experiencing traveling overseas by myself. I never go with no family, never go with no friends. I was going somewhere I'd never been before, doing something I'd never done before. Well, I had worked prior to university, but I mean, traveling overseas and working overseas is a totally different experience. And I will say, even though I'm grateful for the opportunity to travel, to have traveled overseas and worked overseas, because I met the love of my life who has a ring, who gave me a ring, I mean. And that is obviously very life-changing, very life-altering, something very celebratory. I will say that the America that I went to, it's very different experiencing it for yourself as opposed to like seeing it on TV or hearing other people talk about it. You know, it seems like perfection. And in my head, or based on the things that I had seen on the internet or on TV, I thought America was like, I thought everywhere looked like New York City. And it's not so, because the state that I went, it's very similar to home. It's a little tiny island off one of the states. Well, it's still attached to the mainland, but it was a tiny island, and you know, it's very tourist driven, which is like Jamaica. And you know, you're near the water every day, which is such a plus. If you know me, you know I love the ocean. I love water, I love hearing the waves, I love seeing the waves, I love being there. And you know, so it was not very far-fetched for me. Obviously the climate or the weather is a bit different because it's a lot cooler or colder there. And it honestly didn't take much adjusting. I will say I had to do a couple winters there. That took some adjusting because obviously I had never seen snow before, and there's no snow in the fall of Jamaica, obviously, and so I had to get adjusted to that. But I feel like once you have the proper clothing, proper equipment, all of that, you know, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. So yeah, they do sell an American dream to those of us who are not American. And I'll say, knowing about that, what they call the American dream, you know, with the house, with the white picket fence and all of that, it's very different with how you hear it compared to when you go there and what you see. A lot of people, a lot of Americans don't live that dream. That's not their reality. And of course I went there on a work visa. It's not like I went there to live permanently or anything, but you know, within context, what they sell you is not necessarily what you see. So there's a couple things that kind of stood out to me. Obviously, like I said, I'm a Jamaican girl. I've grown here. I was born and raised here all my life. A lot of things that are normalized here are not so normalized over there. And one of the things that I will say was a bit of a culture shock for me was their appreciation of time. So, for context, I'm Jamaican. People don't really appreciate time here like they do in the States. And mind you, obviously you have a group out of every set of people that's different, that's exception to the rule, because of course you have Americans who are probably late, but people are so much more respectful of time. A party will start in Jamaica, or an event will start in Jamaica. They will have it on the flyer to be starting at 5 p.m. and at 8 p.m. some people just come, especially if it's like an informal setting. 8 o'clock people just come. Look how much time parties keep. Party will start 10:30, 11 o'clock. Ain't nobody coming at 11 o'clock, honey. At 1 a.m. people will just be coming into the dance. Like, that is not so. I've been to an event overseas, work event, obviously, but even that I struggle with sometimes. It's very hard for me to reach at work on time. I've had to fight myself because it's not such a laid back thing where if you're late it's just disrespectful. Yeah, waste people time, people get there early, you show up late, especially if it's a work event. Obviously that's gonna be a problem. So I've had to definitely learn how to be a lot more punctual. I'm still working on it. These things don't happen overnight. I'm still working on it. I have had to be a lot more punctual, a lot more respectful of people's time. It made me appreciate it a little bit more. And yeah, that was a big culture shock for me. Not that, obviously we're taught to be punctual here in Jamaica, but it's one thing to be taught and another thing to actually have it done, or to actually do it. You know, monkey see, monkey do. Monkey not see, monkey see but monkey never do. Probably shouldn't use the word monkey, but anyways, another thing or another culture shock, even if you get the same food that you have here in Jamaica, the food over there tastes different. I feel like the foods over there are overly processed, and no, you try your best to cook it the same way. Maybe I'm very inexperienced when I come out to the kitchen. I'm just now stepping out of my comfort zone where the kitchen is concerned, and so I'm just now doing a lot more in the kitchen. So maybe that's my fault, but I don't know, I feel like everything tastes different, even if it's the same thing that you would get here. Obviously it's not the same exact thing, but I feel like it's so much harder to get into the foods, even if it's the same thing or it's similar. Where I have been for the last 3 summers, I get a lot of Jamaican food there, which I'm grateful for, because there's a large Caribbean community there. There's a few Haitians, a few Jamaicans. I've met Africans before, and so there's a lot of culture there. There's a lot of Hispanics as well, and so though it is a predominantly white state, a lot of the supermarkets and grocery stores and convenience stores, they actually cater to that community. And though they might only have a majority of those people there for the summers, I'm really grateful to be able to even get like a piece of yellow yam in the supermarket and all them something. But yeah, I know other states with a larger black community, like Florida, New York, Connecticut, maybe Atlanta, parts of California. You'll probably get more stuff, but for a predominantly white state to still be able to cater for, you know, such a small community that they have, I'm very appreciative of that, because it's like you can still feel, though it's not home, you can still feel like home away from home. You know what I mean? Another big culture shock, customer service. Now, if you're Jamaican and you're listening to this, or if you're Jamaican and you're watching this, you know there was struggle big time with customer service. Big time. People don't give a damn here. If I walk into a store or a business place, especially a government place, and get good customer service, I'm typically shocked. And it's, I know this is kind of along the pathways of customer service, but business transactions, let me tell you something. I'm Jamaican. After 3 years in the States working, I came back to Jamaica and tried to reopen my bank account because I never kept it active, and the bank that I had an account with was telling me I needed a JP to verify that I am me, first of all. Second, that I was currently now unemployed, even though technically I'm off season, but different country, whatever, fine. And it took me 3 hours out of one business day to do all of that, and I still never got through. And then I had a friend who, thank God, worked at another bank, but that still took me 3 days to open an account because they gave me the runaround saying because I don't earn income in Jamaica, I can't want a bank account. When I was opening a bank account so I could deposit my pay into overseas, you know what it took? They just needed the pen for me to sign. Why don't I work on the house now? Let me do this. Anyways, all I needed was a pen to sign my signature so that I could open the account. I got it same day. And obviously some banks you have to wait until you get your social security, but some of them are very understanding that okay, I'm only here temporarily and it takes a while to get your social security number. We'll open the account until you can provide us with that. And some people never come back with their social security and they still have access to the bank account, because some people forget, you know, you get caught up in work, it gets busy, you probably don't have time to go back to the bank. And you can even do that online on the banking app. Call them, you verify. Like, I know we're a developing country and not a developed country, but for a developing country that sees themselves going 100% online in the near future, we don't have the resources to do it, and I think we don't have the infrastructure to do it either. And I know we're probably hopeful and want to do the most, but I feel like there's so much. Like, before traveling, obviously you know that it's not normal for it to take 3 business days to open a bank account, but when you go overseas and you experience different things, you realize you know, so we really need to pull up our socks because this is slackness. So yeah, customer service, when you come for the service at Jamaica, you get a side of attitude with it, or you get the attitude with the side of service and still don't get to accomplish what you do. That's a huge culture shock for me. People are so pleasant. And even like in the working world, the person who helped me open my bank account, I remember I was so shocked that I walked into the bank and saw somebody with a whole lot of piercings and a whole lot of tattoos that were still visible while they were clocked in and helping customers. And I say, now I've always believed that things like tattoos and piercings, you don't really need, because I have tattoos and piercings, I can't get that work. That don't make no sense, especially if it is that I'm qualified. That don't make sense to me. So if you see that, that was a bit of a culture shock for me. You don't really see that on TV because of course maybe they know, but a lot of the things that don't matter over there, me think we should, like, me feel like we adopt all the wrong things that we don't need to adopt, and we need to rewind and come again. Another thing was church. I've visited churches overseas, or a church overseas, and they're so relaxed. People are wear hoodie and jeans pants go to church. Out here everybody have in a 3-piece suit and broad hat, and it's like they don't focus on that. And I feel like it has a lot to do with cultures, and obviously we socialize a lot differently, but it's like so much emphasis is placed on those trivial things out here, and over there it's a little different. And I'm just saying, the things that we should adopt, we haven't adopted them, and maybe we need to rewind, we need to revisit and look into itself and come again. Another thing, not so much of a culture shock, but going away taught me a lot more independence. My parents taught us to be very independent, and I believe that I have been my entire life. So much so where I don't even go up to my parents and ask them certain things if it is that I cannot provide it on my own, which I guess is a blessing and a curse in itself. But having to go away on my own as somebody who is just new to certain aspects of life, and you know, figuring out adulthood, and you know, it taught me a lot of independence, and you know, you have to figure out certain things by your own. When you don't have no family and no friends around you, you definitely have to be quick on your feet. You definitely have to think about certain things. Maybe you can call your parents in Jamaica, your friends in Jamaica, but maybe you're somewhere with a different time zone. Your parents don't wake up yet, you're not really bother them. Maybe it's a situation where they don't have experience with you, kind of still have to figure it out by yourself, you know. There's not much sense of community overseas, though there's a large community of Jamaicans or Caribbean people. You are often taught that you should, or you oftentimes realize that you should stay away from said community, because typically there's a lot of drama and mix up and blend, as we would call it here. And you're not necessarily, especially if it is that you're not a problematic person like myself in Jamaica. Me and my house, nobody knows I'm there. When I do leave, nobody knows I'm left. Like, I'm not seen here. Me not really go to my way to do certain things. Me not really in a drama and problem. I'm not in drama or problems at all. You know, I'm not the type to be in a whole heap of cas. So I'm not going to America with that. And I've met Jamaicans and other people who are very drama filled, and I ain't with all of that. I'm telling you guys right now, I'm not gonna foreign go cause no problem. I don't want involved in a problem. I don't want to be involved with anybody who is okay with that lifestyle. No. So you typically, it tends to be a lot more lonely than maybe it has to be. Because obviously if you're not like those people, you're not really involved with them. So oftentimes you'll be alone, and I'm okay with that. I see a lot of people do it. Typically when they do that, you know, Jamaicans can stay, them feel like you feel like you're better than them. And if that's what you think, then so be it. If you feel like I'm better than you, then I guess maybe I am. You know what I mean? Because how am I set apart and doing something better? And because you used to the muck and the kiss and the drama, and because I don't want to be involved in that, you feel like me better than you, so be it. If that's what you guys have to accuse people of, then I just stoic up. People have said I'm stuck up, maybe I am, but if it means that I have to be stuck up and not involved with the big crowds who are doing all of those things that I don't wish to be a part of, that's totally fine with me. So yeah, so even people who live overseas, they don't really have a sense of community. I feel like if they're not already family members or they're good friends, you don't really get that sense of community from them either. Or typically people stick to what they know and who they know, which, like I said, I don't blame them. But going away to work with no friends, no family on your side, or close enough or close by, you know, it does tend to get a little lonely. Another, not culture shock, but another thing I was grateful for was the convenience of ordering stuff online. If you're a Jamaican, you know you need a shipping company that will ship stuff to their warehouse in the US and then get it to you here in Jamaica, where you then have to upload invoices and deal with customs, and if it's over a certain amount of money, then you have to pay extra money to have it picked up or delivered to your house. Overseas, not so. Obviously you have the luxury of having stuff delivered to your door. In California where I lived, the delivery trucks did not come that way, or they didn't deliver house to house, so you had to go to the post office, which was like 2 minutes down the road. You jump in a taxi. Taxis where I lived were free. Also, you just schedule one when you want to go to post office. It can wait for you depending on how busy that day is, and you go back to your yard. Package is secured, no invoice uploaded, no extra money to pay to have it delivered. For you pay for the product online, that's it. Such a convenience, no hassle. I know we're a developing country as well, but I hope that at some point we can eradicate customs. Maybe there's a bigger backstory or bigger, I don't know, transactional process that I don't know of, but hopefully one day we can eradicate customs. Yeah, because there's no reason why I should buy something for $20 online and just to have it here for me I pay another 20 to 35 US dollars to get it to me. That doesn't make sense, especially depending on how much the product weighs. It's just a whole lot of hassle. Cost of living, I'd say, is honestly not far apart. there are things in the US that are expensive, just like here, but there are things that are more affordable. Grocery shopping, for example, I've seen people say that it's hard to live healthy or to eat healthy here in Jamaica because fruits and vegetables can be quite expensive, especially fruits, especially like exotic fruits like strawberries and stuff like that. Everybody now will get to grow them on strawberries or them on fruits and vegetables. Thankfully, I'm from a family where my dad loves farming and gardening, and so we've always had our own little backyard wherever we've lived, where we get our own little veggies. And you know, right now I have sugarcane, I have plantain, well, plantain really beer since hurricane, plantain, banana, ackee, mango. At one point we had a little patch of watermelon where my dad used to work somewhere. His boss gave him a little plot of land where he could reap watermelon. And we have tomatoes, sweet pepper, soursop, guava in the front yard. So it's like, to get those things in supermarkets overseas, I'd say is a lot less expensive. It's very inexpensive compared to out here, because I've seen strawberry being sold for like $1,000–$2,000 a pack, where I can get a bag of strawberries overseas for like $3–$4. So I definitely get that, but I do think some things are still expensive. You might have multiple options where you might be able to get something somewhere else for cheaper, like dollar store. Like if you don't mind getting certain things from the dollar store, you go and you buy your soap for $1.25 and you wash your clothes the same way. So I guess in Jamaica here we don't really have that option of having multiple places, or if you can get something somewhere else for cheaper, it's not a significant price difference. And so I'd say for the most part, buying certain things overseas is a lot more cost efficient, and probably that's why a lot of people pack barrel and send come my yard, because I see some people say it don't make no sense. I've seen where it worked out for me or for others, and yeah, you just have to do what works for you when you get opportunities to do so. Another thing is, as it relates to cost of living, so I work on the H2B work visa program, whatever, and typically you work in hospitality, so hotels, restaurants, where there's typically a very large tipping culture in the US. A lot of people argue about it and say customers shouldn't be the ones responsible for, you know, enabling workers or employees of a particular company. They shouldn't be the ones ensuring that they have a livable wage, which I agree. However, I feel like I've always been taught, I haven't seen a large tipping culture here in Jamaica, maybe because it really left me out and gone away, but my parents have always taught me that, you know, if you get good service or a good product and you can afford to give a little extra or tip, you should do so, because why not? If you get good service, why you wouldn't tip? You get what I say? I've had to move this camera 60,000 times. But anyways, yeah. Another culture shock for me, I feel like we kind of dilly-dally in and out of culture shock. But you guys get the gist, you get the point. Another thing, the politeness from people who are not Caribbean or people who are not Jamaican seems very fake. Like, people not really say good morning, good evening, good night. Even your employers will walk past you with just a fake little smile, and they will do like, you know that fake smile that Americans love do, like, or that little nod there. Yeah, I'm not used to that. Me not really used to that. It's like a controversies town comparison, where the first time I went to Kingston for university, I saw an adult, and it's very customary, a parents teacher, you say morning, evening, night to people, and I allow the lady to answer me, walk past with my good morning, and she don't answer up to now. But I've seen where it don't really make no sense you waste a breath and say good morning, even though their lack of pleasantries should not allow you to deem your own. But some people not even bother wasting time and then tell people good morning, because you ain't getting no response, or you get a fake little nod, or they'll walk past and say how are you, not with the intention to actually know how you are or to strike up a conversation. But I don't know, I guess that's their way of saying hi, I guess. I don't know, man. And then I made a little table here where I wrote down the pros and the cons of both places. So the pros for the US, there's a lot more structured systems, which I would say there is, especially within the workplace. Well, I don't have any other experience with structured systems. There's a lot more opportunity to earn or save money, and you do get paid better. Minimum wage in Jamaica is like a day's pay over there, and it's a lot. I feel like it's a big part of the reasons why Jamaica suffers a lot from brain drain. People go overseas, they got the opportunity to make more money, and even when they're degreed and can contribute positively to their own economies, they'd rather go overseas because we need to survive. And realistically speaking, a lot of us in Jamaica don't earn enough to survive, especially when you have kids. Especially bills don't stop because you can't afford to pay them. You still have to pay rent or mortgage, you still have to pay your car insurance and your monthly payment for your car, and fitness have to do, and you have to check, and you have to have money for rainy day. Your bills have to pay, light, electricity, internet, phone bill maybe. You have to have money for your rainy day again. You have to buy groceries because you have to eat, and we're being encouraged to live such a healthy life. It's just a lot, and so a lot of people, I don't feel like we're gonna stop experiencing brain drain here in Jamaica until the government, whether green or orange, come together and decide that this is what is going on and we need to implement things that are actually good for the people. But that's a whole other discussion for another day. Another pro of the US, exposure to diversity. You meet a lot of people. That's one of the highlights of me going overseas to work. I've met so many different people from so many different places. I've met people from Guatemala, from Mexico, from Romania. I have a trip to Romania or to Europe in general with friends in Romania that I plan to visit. Isn't that crazy? A little girl like me from Jamaica going to Europe to visit people that I've worked with who became friends. I feel like that's really good. I've met people from Croatia, people from the Philippines, people from the US, obviously. I've met people from Canada. I've met people from so many different places, people from Chile, Colombia. And you know, it's just people from Brazil. And you know, it's such a diverse experience. I've had food from all these places. I've grown an interest to travel to all these places to visit these people, and it's just such a warm and rich culture. Obviously you have diversity in Jamaica, but I don't feel like you're as exposed to this many culture or you know these many people here. And of course, like I mentioned before, a big pro of going to the US, I was taught to be a lot more independent, which can be a blessing and a curse, I guess, depending on how you look at it. But you know, I was grateful for that experience. A pro of Jamaica, there's a lot more sense of community. Like I said, the culture and the food very much unmatched. When I'm away, I do miss the food. Even when you can get food there, you know, it's not the same as home. The culture, definitely, this is my upbringing, you know, like this Jamaica will forever be a part of me. I will forever be grateful because this is my home forever. It will always be a part of me. And you know, even going away to the States and coming up amongst so many different cultures and diversity, it made me appreciate my culture more. And I know I never really appreciate patois until I go work. I never considered myself bilingual or multilingual until I went away to the US to work, and I realized, well, obviously it's patois, Creole. People don't understand it, especially if you talk fast. And it's like I never really had an appreciation for that until I went overseas. And you know, people are so interested in knowing a lot more about your culture. And even with my fiance, he's not Jamaican, and you know, I feel a sense of pride teaching him certain things, you know, educating him on certain things, having him see my side of the culture. He came to Jamaica the other day for the first time and he had a great time. He's already planning his trip back, and you know, it's just, I love it. Another thing that I do appreciate about Jamaica, or another pro, there are slower days, which can be a good thing. I feel like once I'm overseas, it's like once 5 o'clock come in the morning, I'm up, I gotta go, and I don't stop until maybe 9-10 o'clock when I'm back home. And I come home, I have to just relax, eat, shower, get ready for bed, maybe catch up on conversations you missed out on with your family and friends back home, and then you have to go again by 5 o'clock again, and it's like it's never ending. And so in Jamaica you have slower days, and I'm really appreciative for those slow days. Yikes. I'm really appreciative for those slow days. And of course having your support system, family and friends nearby. Obviously in Jamaica we're a small island country, and it's a lot of things are more accessible in terms of getting to people, whereas when you're in the US or another country, you're thousands of miles away and plane tickets ain't cheap. And thank God for technology, you can FaceTime, video call, whatever. And then cons, like I just said a while ago, very fast paced in the US. It can be expensive, and there's a heavy work culture there, where if you don't work, you're dead for hungry. And in Jamaica, you can't really dead for hungry in Jamaica, you know, because we have fruit trees. You know, hear how much fruit trees and stuff me just name out a while ago. You could have go pick something and chef up something real quick if you don't have the money for go to the supermarket, if it is that you farm your own stuff. You know, there's ways around living a certain kind of life, and we just have to have our heads for our bodies and what we want and what we can do. And then obviously cons in Jamaica, fewer opportunities, slower system, transactions can take 3 business days. My mom and dad telling us if I open one account, it took me 3 business days. I had to leave my yard on 3 separate occasions to go to the bank so them could have get me a bank account, which is crazy. And there's a lot less structure, which I feel like in the long run maybe we'll get it together. I don't know. What is my writer? So the US I learned to be a lot more disciplined. I'm still working around time management, you know, being a lot more respectful of people's times and mine, and being a lot more punctual. I definitely gained more of a work ethic. I worked for 11 months before I started university at a pharmacy in my hometown, which was a great experience obviously, but that was a bit more less structured, where if I didn't want to work today I could have called out. And I feel like I feel a lot more pressured to not do so when I am overseas, because I'm working on a contractual basis and I don't want to do anything that, you know, ruins that experience for me or gives me a bad name because me can't show up. Of course, you know when to take a break and all of that, but yeah, like I said, another pro is the exposure that it gave me. Traveling gives people a lot of exposure, and I feel like as long as you're able to afford it, people should definitely travel outside of what they know. I've met a lot of people who are not interested at all in moving outside of where they know, where they've been born and raised, and I feel like that's just such a limited way to think. How you grow somewhere and you're just never interested, I don't get that. I feel like just you're limiting yourself. How you never want to say about grow at St. Elizabeth and you're just never ever interested to go anywhere else, not even to Westmoreland. Nah. And then Jamaica, obviously Jamaica gave me my identity. It gave me a lot of confidence to be who I am. Wherever in the world I go, I will always carry that confidence simply because I'm Jamaican. And that probably sounds a little cocky, but you know, I feel like it taught me how to socialize yeah. And though exposure gave me a lot more, an easier way to socialize with people, I feel like at my core, Jamaica definitely taught me these things, and it obviously gave me my personality. If I could come back in another lifetime, I don't want to, but if it was that I had to come back in another lifetime as me, I'd still want to come back as a Jamaican. I would not change that for the world. But yeah, and I'd always encourage people, travel and experience different things and different places if you can. because it opens your eyes to a lot of things. Some of us need to step outside of our own realities so that we can see that and not just what we know exists. Because I feel like some of us are so limited in our thinking and so limited in our mindsets, and you know, we're just not. I cannot stand a person who cannot see outside of their own reality. So many other realities exist and you don't have to adapt to all of them, but we need to see them and know, say, yeah. Another con I would say in America is if you don't have a car, it's very inconvenient. A car is a need and not necessarily a want. For me, I have to either take public transportation or wait until people that I know there are available. Sometimes that not always work out because, like I said, everybody's working, everybody have them own little thing to do. You can't really sit and depend on others because your schedules might always be conflicting, and maybe you have somewhere urgent, and public transportation is not like public transportation here. For example, the closest Walmart to me is like half an hour away. A taxi is gonna charge you like $60 to get there, and if it is that they're gonna wait on you, obviously it's more. And then if they're not gonna wait on you, you either have to catch the next bus, and if you miss the next bus, you have to wait another hour for the next bus, or you pay a whole heap of money to the taxi to bring you back at your yard. And if it is that you have groceries for some reason, they hike up the price. I don't know, man. Another thing that I am appreciative of here in Jamaica is the way how buildings are different. You can tell a house different from a business place. In America, at least where I am or where I've been there, everything look the same, and it kind of throw you off sometimes. Houses look like places of business, doctor's office or whatever, and doctor's office look like houses. I mean, that's not really a hard or fast thing, but it's very interesting to say the least. Yeah, there's a lot of things to do and places to go, people to see. Well, not people to see. There's a lot of things to do in America, though. I will give them that. I didn't realize it was such a huge place with so much to do until, let me say, I thought everywhere looked like New York City, and that's obviously not the case. There's a lot to do for future trips, obviously. And you know, I'm just excited, and I'm glad I got the opportunity when I got the opportunity, so that I could become a lot more interested. Like, I always had these ideas and these plans to travel, but it was just like vague. It wasn't until I actually traveled and saw some of these places and saw all the things that I could do and all the things that I could experience that I really became more set on making sure that these things happen. And then, of course, I think this is the last of what I have here. Reverse culture shock. After being away for 3 consecutive years, living in a whole other place because of work, I had to come back to Jamaica because, like I said, the work visa that I'm on, after 3 consecutive years there working, you have to return to your home country for a period of 90 days, and reverse culture shock happened. Now, I wrote down a list of things. Things are even more expensive now than they were when I was leaving. For example, bread is almost 1,000 Jamaican dollars. That is crazy. I went to the supermarket the other day and I bought a bread, I bought a bottle of Pepsi, the small one, and I bought another juice, I think, and maybe some sweetie, and the bill was like 1,000. The bill was like 1,124 Jamaican dollars. I'm like, for like 5 things? Really? And somehow the great plan is urging people to have kids, and my picnic can go live on bread and sweetie and a bottle of Pepsi. Let's be so for real. Like, get it together. I was appalled because I'm almost sure when I was leaving, bread was like maybe $400 after tax, which even then in itself was crazy. I mean, come on, like, that's crazy. Going to the nail tech, I had to get some press-ons for Valentine's Day, my birthday, and my whatever, when me feel like I want to look pretty. Because why for do my nails is charging me? Why for do my nails it's like 5,000, 6,000 Jamaican dollars? When I was leaving, it was like $3 grand. For polish my toes, it was like $700 for gel polish. I come back now on a $2 grand. That's crazy. Just to feel like my beautiful. Come on now, man. And then, not to mention, Hurricane Melissa happened last year in October. I came home a month and a half after that. Oh no, me I feel like me want to go nowhere. and all the things, a lot of the things that I had planned to do, the hurricane coming here and devastating where I'm from or where I live, totally I became uninterested. Like, I didn't even really feel like left my yard. The most I've left my yard is to go to church. Luckily, I have a friend that lives on my street. I walk go look for she every now and again because her child is my godson. But like, I'm not really interested. Me tell you the God honest truth. I don't feel like leaving my house just because of all of the devastation that's happened here, and it seems like it's taking forever. Though the government has spent 67 billion, according to them, my town has not been touched. As a matter of fact, we get back electricity 2 weeks ago, and today is March 21st. So yeah, just imagine that. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. I'm very grateful for the experience of both places, for being born and raised here in Jamaica. I definitely do appreciate my culture. I appreciate my community, the support system that I have, all the things that both places had taught me. And really, my takeaway from this is to encourage anybody and everybody, if you can travel, even when you're not think afar, even if it is within the limits or the boundaries of your own country, go see places, go experience things, go meet new people. Like, there's so much more to life than just being in the four walls of your house and going to work every day and that's it. You need to experience life. There's so much. Life is already short, yes, but within that short span of time that you get, make the best of it. Don't live your life just to go work. Don't live your life just to have kids. Don't live your life just because. See the things of the world, experience the things of the world, step outside of your comfort zone. That's one of the things too that I had to experience, stepping outside of my comfort zone. I couldn't talk to people, you know. Matter of fact, I was never interested in talking to people. But the more experience I gained, the more interested I was with sharing that with certain people or with people that I met. Even people who I think I never ever see again. But you know, I'm excited at the possibilities of life, and I think we all should be. Obviously, we can't determine or we can't know when bad things are gonna happen, so I think we should definitely plan for the good. And yeah, I look forward to what this year or what the rest of this year has to offer me, whatever direction my life chooses to go in. And I encourage us all to do the same. So yeah, I know this is probably a very long episode, but I thank you guys so much if you stay to the end. If you guys have stayed to the end, drop the word travel in the comments down below. Yeah, and let me know what other videos or what other episodes or what other things you think I could possibly talk on. I'm open to suggestions. Obviously, I have, you know, things that I think I might be, what am I say, good at speaking about. But if you're interested in hearing me talk about something specific or something that you know or think I might have had experience in, feel free to drop those comments below. But like I said, if you make it to the end of the video, I'm gonna know who and who watched it to the end of the video. Comment the word travel down below. And you know, thank you so much for listening to me yap. If you are listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, go ahead and rate us, give us 5 stars, tell a friend to tell a friend, subscribe or follow, join the fam. I have plenty in store. This is just the first visual audio of many, and if it is that you're watching on my YouTube channel at Life with Kids, don't forget to subscribe. Plenty more coming out, and you know, we have a whole heap of excitement. And this is your girl Kids signing out for today. Until next time, bye.